On today's edition, the legendary Keith Secola in focus. Secola is an award-winning musician. He's a Anishinaabe, born in Cook, Minnesota. He has a degree in American Indian Studies. Keith Secola's most notable movie score was NDN Kars for the popular film Dance Me Outside. NDN Kars has become an anthem across the land. This year, NDN Kars turns 25 years old. Keith is an inductee of the Native American Music Awards Hall of Fame. His band names are wild, like the Wild Band of Indians and Wild Onions. As he makes his way into our studio, I'll also tell you he's an activist, and we'll hear all about what he's concerned about in today's world. Here you see him walking live into our APTN World Headquarters, into the studio here for InFocus. Yay, awesome!
I found it. The director had a little bit of time, the driver here. Good to see you.
Awesome. Yeah, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming all this way. Really appreciate it.
All right.
Have yourself a seat and make yourself comfortable.
All right.
And welcome to APTN InFocus. Such a pleasure to have you here. NDN Kars. Wow, I can't believe 25 years since you wrote NDN Kars. How does that feel?
Well, it's a pretty long time in a cockroach's life, I guess, you know. But in a human beings, it's a little span. You know, you can close your eyes and blink them, and the song is written and things like that. I actually wrote the song back in the early '80s. I was 19 years old, and writing it in Virginia, Minnesota, close to Hibbing, Minnesota. And the song, it took me about 10 years to learn how to sing it and play it and record it and things like that.
Oh, yeah. So can you tell us a bit, for people, anyone who's new to NDN Kars, what is it about?
It's kind of about our culture. It's about resistance, about the richness of being poor. It's about being proud of our heritage. It's about recovering our language, you know, through awareness. It's about all these things that are part of our new movement, I think, in Indian country in North and South America, that awareness of our indigenous people, the power that it brings to us, the happiness that it brings up, you know, and all the other things that come with it. And so it's all these things. And we carry our ancestors in the car, you know, and it's a carload of ancestors.
And tell us why did you decide to write the song?
I remember the connotations, you know, I remember seeing it carved like the word NDN Kars, and the connotation back then was kind of negative. I mean,
like they're beaters.
Yeah, like
res bombs.
And people were like, make fun of you almost, like an Indian car, and they know that you got native blood in you, you know, your white friends might say, an Indian car. And so I kind of wanted to take that and change it a little bit, like, let's make something positive, give some codes in there, you know, like, people will say, what's a 49? You know, I didn't know, you know, 49, you know, a celebration of native singing. Things like that empower our people without preaching or without, you know, like saying this is our bad history. This is our good history now. And let's start writing songs. And so to me, like a song, it's almost like a 4 criteria. 1, is it entertaining? 2, is it philosophical? 3, is it spiritual? And 4, is it metaphysical? Like, does it have something that means to you? Like you might say, did you write that song about my brother's car or my mom's car or something like that? And so you learn as a songwriter to kind of write yourself out of a song and write more of the objective and omnisciently about what the subject is. And I think when you're that young, you kind of do it naturally, and it comes to you naturally in that. And then as you get older, you learn, oh, I did that, yeah. Or then you can kind of learn technique too.
Yeah, it's certainly turned into an anthem, I'd say, across the land, as we said in our opening. Today, you know, we're putting in focus the legendary singer and songwriter Keith Secola. And of course, we want you to join our conversation. Our phone lines are open now. You can call us toll-free at 1-877-647-2786. You can also tweet us at APTN InFocus. Use the hashtag NDN Kars or NDN Kars. We'll find you. Or email InFocus at aptn.ca. We want to move on now to the performance. The NDN Kars, you performed at Aboriginal Day Live here in Winnipeg in 2010, and we want to hear a bit of that performance now. Let's have a listen.
His legendary song, NDN Kars, made him an Indian star, and is a bridger of beats across many cultures, rooted firmly in the rock-infused rhythms of Native Americana. For this Anishinaabe artist, nothing beats a live show, and you're about to hear why. Ladies and gentlemen, Secola.
Happy Aboriginals Day! I've been driving in my Indian car, the pound of the wheels drumming in my brain. My dash is dusty, my plate's expired. Please, Mr. Officer, let me explain. I got to make it to this powwow tonight. I'll be singing 49 down by the riverside, looking for sugar, riding in my Indian car. Hold on, everybody, come on, help me. Cars dented, the radiator steams, one headlight on the radio can screen. I got a sticker, says Indian Power. I stuck it on my bumper, that holds my car together. We're on a circuit of an Indian dream. We don't get old, we just get younger. When we're flying down the highway, riding in our Indian car. Everybody, come on! Hey! TV on the dashboard, ain't got no spare. A feather from the new, ain't got no care. The road is empty in my bottle of desire. Daylight is breaking, the sun touches fire. Got to make another powwow tonight. I'll be singing 49 down by the riverside, looking for sugar, riding in my Indian car. Oh God. Let's make this a celebration. Let's celebrate our past. Let's move it into the future. The quantum leap of the Indian nation. For all people. We're on a circuit of an Indian dream. We don't get old, we just get younger. When we're flying down a highway, riding in our Indian car. Let's take it home.
Wow, awesome. I just can't get enough of hearing that song. The performance of that song, we were remarking as it was playing, there's a bit of a Americana influence you're talking about. As you play the song, how are you seeing it evolve?
Well, you know, it kind of evolved as a rock song, you know, very first, and maybe even a punk kind of rock, because you're kind of playing the chords loud and a little distorted. And then the native melody kind of came in. You can really wail on that, you know, in the upper strings. And then the evolution of it, you know, like when Sean Bernard in the Indian Kars video with a rapper came along and put it to hip-hop and rap music. It was really cool, that beat.
Yeah.
And then
we'll have a bit of that in
then
today's
a little
show.
bit of the techno kind of thing came. People have sent me dance versions of it, you know, like from Europe and things like that.
Oh, really? Wow.
Dance, techno kind of stuff. Native girls have sent me songs where they're singing. The female artists have sung the song. And now my latest version is an Americana version. I call it Native Americana. It's kind of like a blend of all our roots together, using more maybe acoustic things and using, in this case, we used a banjo, but I'll play a little bit of that finger-picking style of what I call Americana, Native Americana music. So it has evolved. In a sense, it evolved back to the roots. You know, like it went forward and it kind of came a circle.
And why do you think it resonates so much with people?
Well, I think it's about, it's a fun song, and it's about celebration, and there's a hint of truth without us having to be angry, or without having to be Disneyland, without us having to be numb of our history, but a little bit of awareness and even it is that awareness, I think, that's helped. And people have to like to have fun with it too, you know, so we don't have to take ourselves so seriously, but we can say we're in the business of having fun and laughing, because this is what healing is about, you know.
And in 2011, you were inducted into the Native American Music Awards Hall of Fame. Tell us about that honor.
Well, I remember I used the word miigwech, you know, and that's in a Anishinaabe language, Ojibwemo, and people know that the word means thank you, but it actually means like I will hold what you give me, the gift you give me, you give to me, and I'll hold it in the highest honor. You know, and if we think about our literal language, how that means, that's what I do. You know, I hold it in the highest honor of a gift like that, because it's from our people, you know, in the sense of my whole career, my song has come from that way. It isn't like I've been in a movie and I got all of a sudden popular. You know, I came up from singing in clubs and playing around campfires and playing for our elders and for woman organizations and benefit shows all over this country, all over North America. And so I think the intrinsicness of us rising from our own, rather than from somebody else saying, here's one of your stars, he was on a movie, so you're going to make him a star. But you know, it was kind of intrinsically where you come up from the roots, and it's kind of neat because we're seeing that kind of power nowadays, where we can make our own rock stars.
Are you a self-taught musician in the same way, you know, Buffy St. Marie, you know, she learned by ear? Are you that way?
Yeah, in that same way, but I did learn to play a trombone, you know, in like a marching band and in grade school and that and things. So you learn to read music, and you can read music, but you really are self-taught. You know, you start to learn to play chords. Like my first chord was the D, and the second chord was an A. So I say I learned the two chords of life, D and A, you know, together. And so you learn little things like that, slow, you know, but you learn too by listening to other musicians and playing with better musicians. You know, like the first band I was in, we had a good guitar player and a good singer. And the female singer could really sing the blues, so we'd get gigs when we shouldn't have. You know, the rest of our band, we were only playing like 4 or 5 months, you know, like, okay, let's see. But we were so enthusiastic about it. Like, we had so much fun that we made other people have fun, you know, because we could kind of make fun of ourselves in that sense of not taking ourselves so seriously and then enjoying ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you know, there are you have a lot of people who really admire your style, and they're really taking notice of you throughout your whole career. We're going to get a little more perspective, because it's no secret, you know, that it's an anthem across the country. Let's roll the clip.
I've been acting for 26 years, so it was like the first year after I started acting, an NDN Kars came out. And we listened to that thing so many times on the road, on theater tours, you know, all over Ontario and the Yukon and British Columbia and all across Canada, you know. We would sing along to it, and it just became like this anthem, and everybody knows it. Every reserve anywhere in North America that you go to, if you go to a house party or whatever, you hear that song.
Definitely Glenn Gould, knowing well the power of the song NDN Kars. But your personal life, you have a wife, you have kids. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I married a Ute woman from northern Utah, from the Fort Duchesne Reservation. And they moved down to Tempe, Arizona, where Arizona State is. And that's how I got down to Tempe, Arizona. I met her at the University of Colorado. So education has always been important, and I have 2 children. My daughter named Marguerite and a son named Keith. And both of them are, my daughter Marguerite's going to graduate from with a master's degree in urban planning, and she's got her LEED license as far as sustainable building with undergrad from Cornell. So she's quite educated. And my son is, he's in the art field, he's an artist, and he's in San Francisco at the Institute of Art. And he's in a master's program right there. And my wife has a degree, and I do too, in American Indian Studies, a bachelor's degree, where I just started to, after that, I just kind of got into ethnomusicology and kind of studying our music, about our music. And so in our family, what I wanted to say was, I was one of the first in my family growing up to go to school and get a degree. And in my family, all of my family have one. And so I know that many Native families are turning things around like this. Like they're saying this opportunity is open for you. And for me, it was a chance to dream, going to school. It was a chance where I learned to play guitar, you know, in college. I had a college band, a theater band kind of, and it was always funny. You know, dress as Christopher Columbus and sing NDN Kars. And so like little irony, things like that, but it really has lifted me. And the family too. I've had our elders teach us, you know, told me when I was coming, says to keep my family close, you know, close all the time, with wherever I am with the music, I always keep them closer. And this is something I've done, and I feel very rich for it. I have a sister who lived here. She's passed away. I have 2 nephews, John and Jason McGree. They live in town now. And so for me, it's a homecoming. Like I would tell you, I think some of the people we'd come up from northern Minnesota to the big town of Winnipeg and be a little bit intimidated because we're from the North Woods, you know. Like, you see the main street and, oh, this is a city.
Yeah.
But we'd get our school clothes here all the time, and so it's good to be back here.
Wow, great. Glad to hear about that part of your life. And there's still more to come. You know, Keith has many admirers across the country, and it's no secret NDN Kars has rocked the nation, as we've just shown you. Former radio DJ for Shone FM in Whitehorse, Yukon, Elaine Shorty says it was her most requested song.
Hi, my name's Elaine Shorty, and I played the song NDN Kars on Shone FM. I was on the air, and one of the things that I always loved to do is I loved to play First Nation music. Back at that time, it was really difficult to get some really excellent music, music that had a lot of rhythm, music that had some blues, music that wanted to kind of make you move around the room. So she came across Secola and she called me up and said, I'm going to give you the CD and I'd like it back, but you can play NDN Kars on the air. So I took the CD. I still have it 25 years later, never gave it back to her. Played it on the air, and of course instantly became one of the most popular requested songs that I had on the air. It was absolutely phenomenal, because a lot of the First Nations music at that time was flute music, and really, really slow moving, very peaceful. NDN Kars, amazing. Again, just wanted to make you dance and do all sorts of wonderful things. The song NDN Kars was very, very, it evolved. It helped people to feel good about themselves.
Join our conversation now. Send your thoughts in an email to infocus@aptn.ca. Like our APTN InFocus Facebook page, follow and tweet us at APTN InFocus, or call in toll free at 1-877-647-2786.
I've been riding in my NDN car, the pound of the wheel in my brain. My dash is dusty, plates are expired. Please, Mr. Officer, let me explain. I got to make it to a powwow tonight. I'll be singing 49 by the confluence of the riverside, looking for sugar, riding in my NDN car. Hoka! Not yet. Car's dented and the radiator steams. When headlight don't work, the radio can scream. I got a sticker, says Indian Power. Stuck it on my bumper to hold my car together. We're on a circuit of an Indian dream. We don't get old, we just get younger. Flying down the highway, riding in our Indian cars. Everybody at home, sing along with me now. Car's dented, the radiator steams. A feather from an eagle ain't got no care. The road is empty in my bottle of desire. Daylight is breaking, the sun touches fire. I got to make another powwow tonight. Singing 49 down by the riverside, looking for sugar, riding in my Indian car. Oh, you're the hell, you're the hell, you're the we're on a circuit of an Indian dream. We don't get old, we just get younger. We're flying down the highway, riding in our Indian cars. Hoka, everybody sing along. Come on. You're the hell, you're the hell, you're the Hoka.
Join our conversation now. Send your thoughts in an email to infocus@aptn.ca. Like our APTN InFocus Facebook page, follow and tweet us at APTN InFocus, or call in toll-free at 1-877-647-2786. Live performance. Thank you so much for singing for us, Keith. Just an awesome song to hear live, and to hear you in studio playing it for us. You know, what do you think about the other people who have taken your song and put their own twists on it? How do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's a very flattering, you know, like for people to do that, to cover your music. And then a great songwriter, Robbie Robertson, that's what he told me one time. He says that when you write a song, you give it to the universe. And so I believe that, you know, and also one of our great elders told me one time when I was at a powwow, and he seen me playing Indian Kars, and he took me to the side and he says, I want you to treat your guitar like a drum. And so I call my guitar the little brother of the drum. So I play it, you know, and I can play it like a drum. It really is a rhythm instrument, even though it has strings. It's like a hand drum, you know.
Percussive.
I could be, and so when people start to cover your songs, it means like a lot. You know, I just had someone tell me today that the only song my wife danced to in a local band is when they cover Indian Kars. And I said, really? Like, let me shake your hand, you know, like, I'm happy about this. And to me, it's a very humbling thing rather than a thing, well, look at me. It was like, wow, Did I really write that song?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to go to Larry. Larry is on the line from Whitehorse. Larry, what's your connection and your memories of Indian Car?
Hello?
Hello, Larry.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
My grandfather, Frank, or George Johnson, was the first First Nation to have a car here in the Yukon. So every time I hear that song, it reminds me of my grandfather driving down the road.
Driving in your Indian car.
Yeah.
His grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the
better,
first
Larry.
one in the Yukon to have a car. First Nation.
Wow. That's the first Indian car in Whitehorse.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you so much. Or do you have a message you want to send to Keith?
Keep on writing the good songs.
Thank you, Larry.
Make us proud.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your comment, Larry. When you're still touring around the country in the States and in Canada?
Yeah, actually this year it marks 25 years of a reissue of the album called Circle. And I have the first album that Indian Kars was on, I put it out kind of informally. And it made a lot of headway, like informally, to help me travel, things like that. And I'm going to have a re-release of it on a record label. I actually got a record deal and management this year, which will help me tour around the country and will help me tour up here more organized. And I'd come up here more like a one-off kind of thing where I do a few shows and go back, but maybe more of an organized tour. And that's what I've been doing. I've been producing and playing live music and recording and editing and things like that. So I keep a real busy schedule.
Yes, we'll definitely get to more of the things that you're doing and your activism in your songs and in your daily life in our next segment. And we'll have more from Keith Secola. But first, here's a song Keith was inspired to write after hearing residential school survivors talking with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Listen to the song. It's called Say Your Name.
Say your name, show your face, leave no trace of your shame. Tears come falling 500 years. Prayers of our children, late at night, down the hall, monsters scream, roam and crawl. Of our children, say their names, show their faces, leave no traces of their games. children. Prayers of our children. Take this tune.
My Indian car always takes me far, even though it's so old, it makes me start off the Bow Wow Trail with the confidence that it will not fail through the provinces. So I go with the flow and I'm burning out. But yo, I'ma go a little further down and go further south through reservations that like to unite, gathering some nations. See some relations in Navajo, the Cree and the Sioux and the Arapaho. But then I have to go to Canada for the States, and my car's got the stamina to take me where I just got to go. But to take me there when I'm on the road, so I wanna go to Arizona to sing a 49 with Secola.
I got to make it to this powwow tonight. C49 down by the riverside. For sugar, riding in my Indian car. I got to make it to this powwow tonight. C49 down by the riverside. For sugar, riding in my Indian car.
Looking for my sugar in my Indian car. Looking for my sugar in my Indian car. Looking for my sugar in my Indian car. Looking for my sugar in my Indian car. Hey!
That was a Sean Bernard remix or remake. I'm not sure what the proper term is on that, but just a timeless classic. It must have been a lot of fun making that video.
It was up in, I think in Edmonton area. And we shot outside the city and in the city and things like that.
Yeah,
And
some
it was just a lot
familiar
of fun, a lot of
faces.
talent too up here in Canada.
Yeah, everyone's so enthused about it. We're going to go to social media now to hear what some of you are saying about Indian Kars and Keith Secola. Alex tells us, whenever I hear that song, I think about my teenage years and smile. Rick says, a classic, a pure gem of a song from a great man with a great talent and a great voice. I have all his CDs. I wish I could find some on vinyl. Are you putting anything out on
this
vinyl?
fall, it'll be out on vinyl.
Vinyl, awesome. Vinyl has really good audio. And from Bradley, I love Keith Secola's Indian Kars. Dude was cracking on all cylinders when he wrote that. That's Anishinaabe, all right.
All right?
Yeah. Anishinaabe for sure. And we also want to just give a shout out to our Facebook audience. We're live on Facebook, and our producer Shirley McLean was telling me there's a question on there. A viewer on Facebook wants to know, what was the first song you wrote?
It was actually a song called Zugipun, and it means snow, and it's Anishinaabe. And I was in college, and I think it was one of the first completed songs, but I had a bunch of songs that were sketches back then, and it was one of my first songs. It was, you know, probably like a year or so after I played guitar in 1977 or 78.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of causes are you interested in now, and what you're seeing in the world today?
Well, I think it's more like our children and our grandchildren. For me, my grandchildren or my grandchild has opened a lot of thought and a lot of compassion, a lot of passion for our children. You know, and I would like to see this national campaign that we're working on with the release of Indian Kars in vinyl and a reissue with 6 tracks that were on there, and I'm putting 6 under-released tracks and unreleased tracks. But a national campaign for Indian children's and First Nation children's safety, car safety. Our national statistics are twice as high as for Native kids and First Nation children to get hurt in automobiles, you know, under the age of 10. What are some of these reasons? So let's start looking at them. What are the things that we're doing? Are we buckling up our kids? Do we have our cars safe? You know, are we driving sober? Things like this, you know, without preaching, without just saying, love our family, love our children, love our culture, love our grandchildren, and let's pull them in to safe places. And I think these are some places that we can do something about. And so this is one of my causes for awareness for our children.
And another comment from a viewer on Facebook is, how much spirituality is a part of you and your gifts?
Well, it's like in the Anishinaabe way, just taking a drink of water is spiritual, you know, because with this water, it touches my lips, and may I say good words today, and make good sounds. May it touch my heart so I have compassion, my mind so I can think good thoughts. Can I touch the water to my eyes so I can see good thoughts? I can smell good thoughts in my stomach and my heart and my lungs. And so I think everything is spiritual. In fact, I think that we can live our lives in continual prayer. So it's almost like you got to take time off from living to pray. It's almost like when you start walking this way, life is a prayer. And so I believe that everything is spiritual.
Including your breath.
Yeah.
And where you were just earlier tuning up your flute.
Yeah. I could play a song I don't know about now, but whenever you'd like me to.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I'd like to hear that.
I would love to play this. And I got to put on my glasses because that's how I remembered when I started playing the flute.
Get into the zone.
This is also one of the best things about being a musician. I played in a concert in the urban area of Salt Lake City last month, and a native guy came there, and he gifted me this flute, and it's a heartwood. It's purple. It's kind of a neat thing.
Nice.
But I love the sound of it, and it's an F sharp minor. Mickey Hart of the Grateful Dead told me that's the sound the Earth spins in when you're from outer space, you know.
Nice.
And so here's a little bit of the sound, and this is part of a pipe song, of a healing song from our people.
Wow, nice.
I think the flute, you know, I've heard in history that De Soto, he explored the southeastern part of the United States, and he came to the Cherokee people, and they greeted him with a flute army of 1,000 people playing flute. And so I think everybody should, you know, like in the way of, it'll get you in touch with that spirituality, in the sense of, I know a lot of native drummers I've given flutes to, and a couple of years later I come back and they got songs too, and they say thanks, because it's almost like a song catcher. Sometimes when I'm in a forest by a river, I'll put my flute in the water, and I'll let the water run through it, and then I'll put it in the trees and let the wind go through it, and the next day I got all songs. You know, songs from the water, songs from the wind. And I think that this flute does that. And people should do it, should play it, because it opens up doors in your inner spirituality. And to me, it is a gift like that. And for the Anishinaabe people, there are some categories called pipe songs where we would compliment our elders when they would load up their pipe to pray. You know, before ceremonies or something, you would sing or play pipe songs, and so it was part of a tradition too, and maybe not as traditional as some of our medicine societies, but it was definitely part of our healing.
Can you tell us a little bit about your family and where you grew up?
Yeah, I grew up in northern Minnesota, and my mother was from Couchiching, and
in Ontario.
From Bois Fort, yeah. And my father, he's an Italian, and he grew up in northern Minnesota around Anishinaabe people. And I have one brother and 4 sisters and 3 of them are alive still. And the first time I ever heard a harmonica playing, I remember it was my younger sister was really ripping on harmonica, and I said, "Who is that?" You know, because I didn't really play guitar or anything like that. And they could play. You know, my whole family we could play instruments. I mean, I would always see a guitar. I'd always tease. We'd always have a Rumman Sale guitar. My mom would always buy a guitar like at a Rumman Sale, and no one would know how to change the strings. So a 6-string guitar would become a 5-string and a 4-string, 2-string. And I even write songs now on 2 strings these days, just in homage to that. But we grew up in a little town called Parkville. And that town is about 100 miles south of the Canadian border in Ontario, in Minnesota. That town's not there no more because that was on the Mesabi range. Mesabi is a Anishinaabe word, means giant, but it means like Sasquatch, a big Mesabi Wainini. And so we grew up there in a little town called Parkville, and the mines ate it up. You know, it's not there. I still go back home and I'll trespass just to go up by the area. And I was saying that they chopped down all the trees one day from your childhood. And I swear the trees were like the original cloud. You know how cloud is to the technology, that trees have something to do with our psychic memory of places. Because they stored memories. One time I told my friend who was suffering from a stroke, I said, if there's an old tree where you grew up, go and just sit underneath it for a few hours each day, as often as you can. And you remember things. It'll teach you things that, oh yeah, I remember this. And so I think all these things become aware, but this is how I tie into where I grew up. It was that earth there, that when I left home from the Iron Range, I took a vial of dirt. My elders told me, take some dirt when you go, and you always know where you're from. And to this day, you know, like 30 years later, I still have that dirt from my yard when I took it. I hitchhiked down to almost Mexico from Minnesota with $100 in a backpack and 10 pounds of monomen, or wild rice.
Wild rice.
And I just started like that, in that little bit of dirt. And so this is where I'm from. When people ask me where I'm from, this is where I remember. This earth up there in northern Minnesota, that Iron Range area. And my family is still living there. Nephews and nieces, and all through this country. I have an uncle who lives up in Saskatoon, and relatives who live in this city. And it's a wonderful thing to see that all over.
We're quickly running out of time, and I want to play one last clip at the end. It gets more bluesy, but is there a message you want to leave with our audience today?
I don't know. I think just keep on trying. You know, like keep on going. Whenever, even the hardest part is when your spirit is down. You know, what is it that you get yourself back up? Find that place, and if you get down, it's all right, because you can get back up. You know, and don't be so hard on yourself. Yeah, that's about what I want to tell people.
Awesome. Keith Secola, legendary singer-songwriter. Thanks so much for being here on InFocus today.
Wonderful show here, and it's a great APTN is a leader in North America. Miigwech.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us so much. Thank you for watching. There's only 2 more shows left in this season. Join us again next week. We're putting Canada's celebration of its 150th birthday in focus. You won't want to miss it. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next Wednesday. Take care.
in my hour time.